What's going on? Happy Friday here. I don't know if we're right at Friday or maybe we're just over the Saturday line here. But anyway, so I asked my audience here on LinkedIn what they wanted to see tonight. This is sort of audience choice, if you will. And I need to find out. Yeah. Okay. Cool. What they wanted to see, and the number one vote was an update on the Miami tech scene, and so that's what we are going to do. So, it's an interesting year, and I found, I learned a lot of things, went to a number of events, talked to a lot of people. I think I've got a lot of insight. I'm going to I've got so many different things going on right now that I've got to really hit this really at a high level. But let me just sort of bring you up to speed. As usual, first of all, everything I'm saying is all my personal opinion only, not alleging facts, not casting any aspersions, all for entertainment purpose only. Please check all the disclaimers. And I'm going to I may get specific. I wanted to have some other people on this with me, and then we could maybe get a little more, focused and specific about it. But I'll keep it a little general. We'll see where this goes. You never know with me. I keep it very, very real at all times. But in any event, so look, let me give a high level. Yes, real things are happening here. Yes, there's been some activity. Yes, when I was back here in 2014, there was almost nothing. Now there's really stuff happening. But what's happening, right? And I don't know on the chat here. You can hit me up in the chat. I have to kind of work through this a little bit. I don't know if LinkedIn and Facebook, if you are able to chat with me directly here. I know YouTube is. I will try to monitor the other sites and try to get everyone's comments in. And if I don't get it in now live, I'll try to follow up afterwards. So, yes, there's real things that are happening. Now, I've had lots of experience in Silicon Valley. I've seen the big show, right? The Super Bowl. And, so a lot of people are like, oh, and the tweet heard around the world and the response and everything. So where's it really at? Here's a high level and I'll drill down into it. Do I think this is a legit tech hub? No, not yet. I don't. I think that things are happening. I think that there are tech jobs here. There are people getting funded. There's things that are happening. And I'll explain what I mean by that. I'll explain what I mean by that more in a second. Is it on its way? Yeah, I think it probably is on its way. I think it probably is on its way to becoming a tech hub. Now, I'll say this with qualifications both ways. First, oh, hey, with JDV, what are you talking about? I've read all these reports and Miami Tech's for real, and I'm here, and I see all these things and the blogs and the tweets and Mayor Suarez's office and the Venture Miami team and Refresh Miami and South Florida, this and all of it. Okay, cool. But let's drill down into that. First of all, there's Miami, right? Now, and you can look at this both ways. So you have this report here, and it's an article. There's a PitchBook NVCA report. We'll drill through that. And a lot of the characters say, the region, the South Florida region. So now what are we including? We're including, if we're including the Tri-County, we're including Palm Beach, we're including Broward, we're including Miami. Those are very different areas. I have to tell you, very different areas. And I'll explain that in a second. You cannot put those all together. In a way you can, in a way you can't. You can much more so for media, right? So I was doing talk radio down here. You can get, let's say, I wasn't on this station, but let's say 610. You can get 610 AM. You can get it all the way up to, north of Palm Beach. You can get it down in the Keys. You can lumping a media market together like that makes sense, right? That makes sense. The tech market, it doesn't make sense. You have so many different cities. You have 3 major counties. You have different populations. It's very different. So, it's a different deal. Now, I'm not totally against it because in some ways they can say that they do that for the Bay Area or in New York City. So I can see it both ways, but there's reasons why I don't think that totally is operative. One, from logistical standpoint, and there's others. We'll get into that. I don't need to get super into everything, but I think that if you take that, if you give it the maximum push, put all the counties together, great. Okay, cool. Let's give it and I don't think you can really do that. I really don't think you can really do that. But, well, I'm on the fence there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. There's reasons for it, there's reasons against it, in my opinion, right? I think there's definitely, it's problematic to just say, oh, it's all together, because it's not. Because I got to tell you something. Like, I'll give you a quick for instance. So one of my colleagues, one of my contacts, we used to, work together, America's Venture Capital and everything like that. And I was his TA, Professor Lou. Great. Awesome dude. Was down at the North American, Bitcoin conference. So I'm like on the map, right? You'd think I'm 30 minutes away. It should be very, very rapid. But depending on traffic and depending on which way you go, it took me an hour and a half, okay, to get down there. So, by the time, lunches and then getting back, it's an all-day deal. It's like a half day, 3/4, half day if you're lucky. It's really 3/4 day, all-day deal. Now, if you're North Broward, if you're, North Palm Beach, just multiply that. So it becomes it's almost like saying, you can say, oh, it's Southern California with LA. Let me tell you something. Costa Mesa, Irvine, Newport Beach is very different than Santa Monica, right? Can you put those together? Yeah, maybe. I don't know not really, right? So, let alone San Diego. So, would you put San Diego market with LA? That's, those are, maybe 2 hours away-ish. I have to look. It's been a while since I've made that drive, but, depending on traffic, whatever, and forget it. It could be a parking lot. And those markets operate differently. Santa Monica is very different than the Valley, which is very different than other parts of the greater LA area, which is very different than Pasadena, which is very different than San Diego, which is very different than Orange County. Orange County is maybe much closer to San Diego. So I think there's problems with trying to put that all together and do, because why So this is the thing that gets me. On the one hand, it's all Miami, the downtown authority, because Miami Beach is different than Miami, and there's all these little towns around there, Coral Gables, stuff like that. So sometimes it's all about downtown Miami, and sometimes it's all about the 305, and then sometimes it's the region. It's the region when they want to try to pump up the numbers. And I get all of it, but you have to just really sort through that. So let's sort through it. But let's give it the maximum play. We'll say, okay, great. Tri-Valley, Tri-County, we'll give it the maximum play. And with the Tri-Valley, it was something like, let's see here. Let me see if I get this right here. I may have it wrong. So according to Refresh Miami, and it's obviously the NVCA pitch book information here, and we'll go off of that. It was, mid four billions of VC money, which is great. Deals were down, funding was up. Well, deals overall were up. Don't get me wrong, but Q4 number of deals, were down from Q3. Funding was up. Okay, great. It was, big. A lot of money flowed in. Awesome. So you think, oh wow, Miami's on fire. Here we go. Capital, and all that type of stuff. And it's like, Now I think that's an interesting phrase, by the way. I remember I used to. Hey, I don't know. Again, I'm not alleging anything. I have no idea. Who knows? I've heard different things about that. All I know is I started a company called America's Venture Capital years ago. So it's all good. So you think, okay, oh man, this Miami thing's taking off. It's unbelievable. Here we go. Woo! It's unbelievable. We have, Miami's the place to be. Maybe you think it's en fuego, right? Now, again, there's the law of small numbers, right? Which is if you're starting small, it's easy to have percentage increases. So you say, oh, wow, you've got this big percentage, and I don't want to just, I'm trying to figure out like, oh, the deals were up 45%, and oh, yeah, and okay, cool. So records broken. Okay, cool. So you think it's all crazy, right? But here's the thing. And again, it's not a big deal. But everyone was up. Everyone was up. Almost. So to give you an example of that, and I'm going back and forth. This is NVCA, and I'm going back and forth with different data. And again, I'm not against anyone. I'm not a hater. It's all good. It's cool. Whatever. But valuations were up. Public listings were up, funds were up, SPACs were up, everything was up, dude. Everything was up. So if you look at mega deals were up, VC investment almost doubled everywhere. So there's nothing, it was a rising tide, right? It was a rising tide. And to put a frame on it, I think I did something, and I may be wrong. But I have to go look back, and I just don't have the time. I have too many other things going on. I went and did an analysis before. Remember, the Miami Metro, all of it. This is the Miami Metro. This isn't South Florida. So again, they try to string together 3 counties. This is just the Miami Metro, right? And maybe it's South Florida. Let's again. We're going to give it the best maximum way to look at this. The entire area, let's say South Florida, is the 7th largest metro area in the country, right? So obviously things are going to happen here. It'd be crazy for it not to happen here. But I think when I did my last analysis, and I got to relook at that, and I got to look, again, I don't have time to look at it. But if I remember correctly, I think, maybe I can pull up my notes here, who knows, whatever. I don't really, I'll try to do it very, very quick. But I'm pretty sure that it was something like, it was something to the effect of the 11th market in the country in terms of VC investment. I got to double check that. I may be wrong. But if I'm right on that, and I'm trying to find my notes, and who knows, but if I'm right about that, guess what? Surprise, surprise, in a year, after the tweet heard around the world, after everything's happening, after all these companies coming, Founders Fund, Pareto, everyone's, all the, conferences galore, all the breathless coverage, it's in the same place, number 11. Okay? So, and guess what? The mega push, that's done. It's like when you go to the gym, right? You haven't worked out, stuff like that. And, oh, yeah. And you start, oh man, I haven't worked out. You start hitting the weights. You start doing the, and at first you feel terrible, but then you come back in there. Wow, I'm adding 10, 15, 20, 50 pounds to the bar, whatever. If it depends on the exercise and what your fitness, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're moving quick. The gains are quick. Okay, here we go. What do you, Ricky? Hey, hey, we're not giving anyone advice here. Whatever you do is at your own risk. No financial advice, no any kind of advice here. Anything you do at your own risk. Read all the disclaimers. But so anyway, it's the same thing. So Miami was starting out almost very at a low level. So the quick gains are gone. But let's put a frame on it. And again, it's great. Here's the thing: real stuff is happening now. Real companies are here, and there are sectors that are gaining strength. That's awesome. And some people have done some, including Mayor Suarez, have done some amazing things. So I am neutral to slightly positive, more neutral on Suarez, and I'll explain that. I met him. I took the picture, everything like that. He was cool to me. His chief of staff was very cool to me. But there's been some other little, and again, it's never personal with me. So I'll tell you the personal, so you know where I'm coming from. There's, full disclosure, but then I also analyze straight up, and it's the same thing that I said before, and we'll get back to that. But I also give major respect for a lot of stuff that him and his team have done. There's been some great stuff happening here, but there's a lot of things that could be done better, in my opinion. And again, I'm nobody, right? I just know a lot of people and I know a lot of things. That's all. That's all that is. It's fine. Nobody needs me, but I can help, right? So, and I know things. So, okay, so let's get to it. So, okay, so all this stuff of we're the best, oh, everything's up, oh, it's capital. Ridiculous, in my opinion. And here's the numbers for that, right? So, John, you're a hater. No, I'm not a hater, dude. I'm just real. Here's reality. Reality is, okay, great. So I've seen different numbers. So I may be getting a little bit wrong, but I saw 4.63 billion and I saw 5.3 billion. So it's somewhere in there. Let's call it 5.3, and I'll try to find exactly, let's call it 5.3. And I got to dig through it because guess what? It's not in the top 10. Okay. 7th largest metro, below the top 10 in VC funding, even after all the stuff. The tweet heard around the world and the super year and the super Miami Tech, it's still nothing, very little to nothing has changed in the placement. Here's what I mean by that. Okay, so what do we got here? So we've got Alston, Round Rock area, 4.9 billion in VC money. Washington, D.C. area, and with some other areas, Baltimore and some other areas in there, 5.7. And that's it. So when you compare that, it's like, okay, well, why don't you just kind of bundle so that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes some of these comparisons, it's like, you can call it either way. So you can put the three counties together here if you want to do that, but I can see it both ways. 5.7. Chicago, 7 billion. Denver, 6.1 billion. And no, don't disrespect to Denver. A lot of action going on there. Brad Feld, Techstars, all the rest. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's what I'm saying. You don't hear about that. You don't hear about the Super Denver stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in Denver. And has been going on for a long time. Boulder, the rest, all that stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like you're not going to conquer the world in the year. You're not going to conquer the tech or the VC world in a year. Sorry, it's not going to happen. All right, I don't care how many NFTs or parties. And that's the other. Oh man, I've never seen I've talked to some of my venture buddies that were coming out here and some of the alumni groups, and I've never seen so many meetings and meetups and pitch competitions in clubs, in nightclubs, only in Miami, right? I mean, I'm not against it, but it's just at a certain level, it's sort of like hard to take it super seriously. It's definitely something you can't take, you can't take your kids to. I don't know. Not to say that you would, but I mean, it's a different vibe. Like whereas like in Silicon Valley, anytime, anywhere, whatever, you don't really even have. I mean, you do, but you don't. I mean, it's not like I can't name any clubs in Silicon Valley. Like, okay, you want to go to San Francisco, different places, and I'm sure it's all changed since I've been there. But I mean, still, it's like it's such a different vibe, and some part of that's what's cool, right? It's different. Okay, so now we're talking. This is NVCA 2021 Q4 pitch book venture monitor summary here. So credit to them, and I'll put links and stuff in for the references and stuff. Okay. Now we're starting to get a little more serious here. Seattle, Tacoma, 8 billion. Philly. Wait, what? Philly? Wait, we haven't even talked about Philly. 8.1 billion. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that a city that almost nobody down here has been talking about is well over 50% bigger in VC funding than the South Florida Miami Miracle. Stop. Okay. And again, what's changed since I did this before? I'll go check out. I'll go look at my notes stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that they were 11th when I did this before with a tech review. Nothing's changed in terms of positioning. Now things have changed, but they haven't. Everyone's gone up. So that's like saying, oh yeah, great. Coach, I put 30 pounds on my bench press. Oh, John, that's awesome. Everyone else put 50. It's like, I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I was working hard. And then we got into Boston. Now we're going to get serious. Boston, 34 billion, almost 34.9, almost 35 billion. Okay, Los Angeles, LA, right? We're separating California. We're just, okay. Oh, so I think that was 4.6. I think Florida was 5.3. So the entire state, some of these cities on the top 10, almost most of them are beating the entire state of Florida in VC funding. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So, I mean, there's so far to go. Things are happening. I love it. I love Florida. It's great, right? But I mean, like, we just need to just be done. Stop, finito with this whole capital of capital. Listen, I'm not telling anyone what to do, but I think that just really hurts credibility and stuff like that at this point, because it's not going to happen. No time. I mean, probably never, and no time soon. And you could spell, we mean this kind of capital. Just stop. Yeah, stop, please. But hey, do what you want, free country. LA, 34.3 billion. New York, so many people. New York's over. 53.8 billion. What? So 10x like the entire state of Florida. Over 10x of whatever's happening down here in South Florida. Now we're going to get to the real stuff. The numero uno. First, let's frame it. In 2020, Silicon Valley, San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area, 62.9 billion. Cool. So you say, oh, look at this. Wait, let's look at this. Let's look at this article. Oh my gosh. Here we go. There's another. What did I get it wrong? Like, wow. This is a big. Oh wow. Here we go. There was an increase in South Florida companies of VC funding of under $2 billion. An increase. Wow, that's great. Cool. Then we look, the Bay Area. The Bay Area went from $62.9 billion in 2020 to $120.3 billion in 2021. That's almost a 2x. That's the number one. It's already here, almost a 2x. Now what? Stop. It's just stop. So the Bay Area, if I have this right, I got to double check. I might be wrong. But if I have this right, you're talking about the Bay Area that had, certainly in raw dollars, like it's there's no comparison. There's no comparison, period, end of story. That's it. There's no comparison. You can't compare it. And they may have grown faster. I got to double check everything. Again, I'm not going to just super drill down and all this, but you understand it, right? I don't want to just bore everyone with the numbers, but the numbers are important. It's not there. It's there, but it's not. Let me put it this way. Real stuff's happening. There's real action here. It's cool, but this whole capital, we're the best, we're the hottest, we're the fastest growing, we're taking over everything. Oh my gosh, everyone's coming here, for us and Miami and no. In my opinion. And look at the data. So, it is what it is. So if you do that math, so let's see. It's going to be pretty close, actually. And then again, the law of big numbers. If I'm going off of this, and it was 4.6, so 4.63 is this year, and it increased by just under 2 billion. That means it was at 2.71-ish. So the Bay Area, if I'm right, it's good. Like I said, the math's going to be pretty close, but pretty sure the Bay Area, let's see, divided by... See if I can do my math right on the fly here. Yeah, so let's do it another way. No, I think that's about... Okay. The Bay Area increased more. The number one venture market increased more percentage-wise than Miami. With everything that's been going on in California, with all the headwinds, with Elon Musk moving out, with Oracle, with all these other companies, it's still Still, I mean, and again, in raw dollars, dude, Silicon Valley didn't even blink at Miami. Didn't even blink. Sorry. No way. So, and so now here we are at 2022. And you say to yourself, where does it go from here? And I'll put a pause on this because I want to talk about all the cool and positive stuff going on here, in my opinion. And there's a lot. And that's the question mark. And that's a lot of question mark, in my opinion. And so I'm going to try to speed this up. But because I had to get to the data there and stuff, and I want to try to speed a lot of this up. There's a lot. There's so much. I could sit here for 3 hours, and there's still more to say. But I will say, someone who's been here for a while and says, "Oh, John, you're a hater and whatever, and you're biased." And okay, you can say whatever you want. There's someone that's been in the scene that is pretty well respected and has done well for himself, and I'm actually pretty proud of this dude. And he talked to me, and we were talking about stuff. We were talking very real. I was like, "How long you been here?" I was like, "Well, I've been back and whatever, but I've been here back since a couple years." He's like, "You know what? This is my characterization. I may be wrong." It's unbelievable. You know more stuff than people that have lived here your entire life. It's because I know the deal. I know politics. I know tech. I know venture. I can read it. I've had other people say that. Your instincts are really. I know the deal. And here's what I think. People came here because the state was open. That is DeSantis. That has nothing to do with Mayor Suarez. Sorry. Nothing. And those two, they may not get along super great. I'm not alleging anything. I'd refer you to a bunch of articles out there. So that's DeSantis. Texas and Florida were open. And look at where so many of these companies were coming from all over the place. People say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go here for," you can look at the articles. 6 months, 2 years, 1 year, whatever. I know someone that was in a major venture fund was here for a while, then left. Their fund didn't open up an office here, but they came for a while. So there's all that headwind, and there was action and excitement. Dylan Asparov, all the rest, and Raboy, etc. And I will say that Suarez is a pretty good speaker. Not the best, but pretty good. But he is definitely the best down here, right? That I've seen. And listen, that's a big deal because the platform, he did a great job of taking advantage in the best way of the right moment and the right platform. What's the platform? Florida, Miami. And Miami's always had the cool factor. Miami, it's just nothing new. There's nothing new about Miami being a place where people that are celebrities or really rich want to come, post up, have a second home, or just visit or vacation or whatever, spend a lot of money, have fun, and do the whole thing and entertain themselves. And there's no different. Whether it's, a Hollywood celebrity or some of the NFT peeps or some of the crypto peeps or some of the blockchain peeps or some of the finance peeps or whatever, it's because of the proximity in terms of flights and direct flights to New York. You do have that finance angle that is here a lot, and there's certainly there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot more flexibility in my opinion in where those firms can post up. Although a lot of those firms post up in Palm Beach. There's always been like the hedge fund action for a while in Palm Beach. So I think that Suarez was able to have some vision and really push on the tech move and was way out in front of a lot of the other politicians here that are just kind of doing what they're doing. So major credit on that. Okay. And that's not a small deal. And then was able to understand social media and promotion and videos and all that. And that was great. But there's major problems with how things are working, and I've touched on it before, but it's definitely really everything I predicted. It's all coming to pass. It really is. I mean, if you look at my videos, you can see it, you can chart it, and I can tell you what I think is going to happen here. And I'll just very briefly touch on the political because it intersects it a little bit. So, you know, and I'll give you a for instance. I went to a job fair. That's why I saw Suarez, and this is like the best of Miami. This is cool. It was the most fun job fair I've ever been at. I'm like, okay, I want to see it. All of the tech, you know, let's see the jobs. Let's see what it is. Let's see who shows up. Let's see Suarez and everyone in action. Let's see what it is. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go. Like, I really don't want to, you know, I don't need it. But it's like, you know what? Let's just do it. That's fine. I had registered before for a bunch of events and it was like, I just flaked out, or, you know, I had, you know, family stuff. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to go for the show. Like, I know what it, you know, but it's fine. So I pull myself. I'm like, you know what? That's the other thing. It's like, there's almost, and again, I'm not, there's no, this is my personal opinion and a characterization, but it's not, I'm not making any, it's almost like there's a weird, how do I want to say this? I want to be very precise on how I say this. It's quasi, in my opinion, and again, an AstroTurf aspect to this in terms of like, you have this person over here that writes for this blog that covers, you know, some of this stuff. Then they also might be doing stuff for the Miami Herald. Then this other person with this organization also does stuff for this event company in the tech space. Then they also, or this other person over here does stuff with the Florida funders or something. And it's like, there's people wearing 2 or 3 hats, right? So Mayor Suarez himself is, okay, mayor of Miami. I may be wrong. You know, again, I'm just double check. But I think he also is a partner or no, wait. Maybe of council. I don't know. Let me revise that. Mayor of Miami, cool. The city of Miami, not the county. Okay, city of Miami. Also a lawyer, also, you know, I think is now on the board of Emerge America. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of hats being worn here, and so the action there's a lot of people that came over here, and I'll say what someone else said, and I'm not alleging anything again. And if I wanted to name names and really lay it out, I could do that. But again, I don't want anyone to misinterpret where this is coming from. This is coming from a good place, right? I just want the best here, and I just want real stuff. And again, I'm all about freedom, liberty, equality, opportunity for everybody, and I play it straight. That's it. But so, okay, it's like this real tight cluster of 10, 20, 30 people. Let's call it 20 or 30 people. That's all in that, and they like each other's posts. They're going to the events. They're doing their, you know, they're going to the same events, and it's all this, it's the same group. And this person's on this person's board, and it's just, you know, or advises them, or their buddies, but they started, you know, this person started this thing, and it's crazy. So it's very much, it's almost totally antithetical to what I experienced in Silicon Valley at the time, which was, you know, when I was there, nobody cared who you voted for. Nobody cared. Everyone came from somewhere different. You know, I mean, it was a completely, I mean, there were people that were there, whatever, but by and large, you had the top talent from all over the world. Nobody cared about where, you know, who you vote. Nobody even talked about stuff like that. You know, I'm not saying never, ever, but I mean, dude, it was go. What are you working on? You know, it's too late. I have it wrong, but it basically like, you know, what are you working on? And let's go. You know what I mean? You know, is it cool? What are you working on? Is it going to change the world? And let's go. That's basically the deal. Whereas here, it's like, I've never seen a tech hub that's not run. I've never seen a tech hub where people feel like in order to get traction, they need to go talk to the mayor. That's so weird. Like, that's the weirdest thing ever. And I've talked to people, and I don't want to name names. I've talked to like serious VCs. Like, oh yeah, well, thanks for talking to me. You know, it's like they're gonna meet with Suarez, and I know other people. Hey, can you get me, you know, to talk to Suarez, or can you get me in? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm like, dude, I met him, and perfect example. I met this is it. I met him, took some pictures, and he was totally cool to me. So don't get me wrong. Hey, you want to be on my show? Anytime. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Schedule with my 8 over here. Okay. So I talked to 8. 8's super cool. He's really cool. Then we try to set it up. Still waiting. What happened anytime? I guess anytime, there's different definitions maybe of any time. And when it goes to the communication, just like last time, like I was talking to the Downtown Development Authority and had a great conversation. This happens. I can't tell. This is like so many times. Hey, John. Oh, it's great. Yeah, we want to talk. Oh, yeah. Great ideas. I love it. Awesome. Can you put it on paper? Yeah. Can you write an email? Oh, yeah. Detail everything. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm very detailed. Send it over. Crickets. And it's like, you know, and the thing is maybe it's just me, but I've talked to other people. Other people maybe had similar experiences, right? So I definitely get a view, and again, I want to be really careful how I phrase this. But again, I've seen many different tech hubs. I've been all over the country. I've seen I've seen most of them. I've seen most of them, right? I've seen most of them. And you have Silicon Valley is the absolute dominant player by far, not even close. And the numbers prove that. And that's not changed. If Silicon Valley couldn't have basically punked themselves out, not themselves, but the state of California, good luck. You know, throwing your billboards up there and tweets, you know, it's not gonna, good luck, dude. You know, now, I do think with what's happened in the last couple of years that there has been a major seismic shift with New York and California, but I also expect a pullback too. Because when things, you know, if things, we'll see what happens. But I mean, I think that, you know, if things start opening up again everywhere at some point, then, you know, those other places just have far more infrastructure on every level. The other thing is that there's just only so much land here. It's so hard to deal with Miami and just getting down there and logistics. Like, it's cool, but it's a pain. Parking's a pain. Traffic's a pain. There's only a couple different ways in. There isn't really a lot of mass transit. It's not like that I could live out in suburbs, go to BART, hop on BART, do my, you know, in the Bay Area, which is like a train, rapid subway, you know, Bay Area rapid transit, whatever like that. Do my work, chill out, whatever. Go there, don't have to go downtown, don't have to worry about parking, and I'm fine. Or if I'm going to Silicon Valley, it's all pretty much, yeah, you got to deal with some traffic for sure, but that's pretty much a suburb, so it's not like I don't have to worry about parking at the VC down there. It's a different deal. You know, New York City's New York City, but, you know, you're already dealing with that if you're there. So if you're, you know, but I think that you have a situation. I've seen a lot of other, and I don't want to get super duper specific on it. I mean, maybe I should. I don't know, but because I'm trying to do straight up analysis. I don't want this to seem personal because it's not. Like, I don't take things, you know, I'm not like that. Like, I'm just, it's, you know, and I'm just by nature, I'm just super forgiving and stuff anyway. It's just, at the end, none of it matters. It's just all noise. It's like Tom Brady said, right? So I kind of agree with that. But you see, I've seen other tech hubs that thought they had it all figured out and thought they were going to, like, you know, that there's, you know, they're running the hometown game or whatever it is. Who knows, right? I'm not alleging anything, or I'm not trying to mischaracterize or generalize or, you know, anything like that. And it's like, dude, it's so insanely simple. It's super insanely simple. You cannot be world class. You cannot try to do dramatically different things if you're going to keep doing the same thing you've been doing and you're only going to deal with who you've already been dealing with, that's it. It's that simple. And I've had a bunch of conversations, great conversations. I'm going to talk to someone tomorrow who's now getting into venture, and hopefully we'll be doing some synergy and some different things. And I made the same point. There's so many things going on now, and I don't want to swerve this, but we'll get into this in a second too, actually, because this is in a different way, but this is really much happening here. There's so much to talk about here. I literally could go hours, because I've got it really well scouted out. And I made the same point, which is, if you are in venture from a business standpoint, you can have any mission, focus, whatever you want to, that's fine. Now, again, if you have a sector focus, like, hey, we're doing healthcare, whatever, I mean, that's a different thing. Like, I know these sectors, but from if whatever sectors you invest in, you want to see every deal that could be good. You can have your screening, you can have your venture scouts, you can do all that. I mean, you have to manage the deal flow too. But at the end of the day, I would never, ever, when I was in venture, I want to see every deal, every entrepreneur. I want to talk to everyone. Because you never know when the best deal is going to come by. You never know when you have a Tom Brady situation where all the best funds passed on something for whatever reason, or maybe it wasn't ready. Now it's ready right now, or you've got that relationship, or you have some understanding. It doesn't. You've got to see everything. So the idea that so-and-so, and again, this is purely hypothetical. So-and-so doesn't like him. Oh, they said this about so-and-so, or the mayor, or, oh, they don't like the mayor, or, John, they might have voted Republican. Oh my God. It's like, what? Are you crazy? And so it's crazy, right? It's insane. So it's like, you can't, anything that restricts who you want to talk to, who you want to work with, what deals you want to look at, is antithetical to making money. Okay? It's simple. Or building a big audience, or selling a bunch of stuff, or all of the above, right? Or making employees happy that they work with you. I mean, so it's insane. I don't get it. So I think that there's a lot of, the easiest, most diplomatic way I can say this is, there's a lot of progress that's happened down here, and there's a lot of excitement that's come down here, and there's a lot of people that have been over here, and that's cool. But there's a lot of growth and evolution that has to happen in this area, in this region. And I would refer you to all kinds of different articles. One article said that this place is ungovernable. I think that's, I think that's hyperbole. I think that's crazy. I don't even know what that means. But I just think that it's no more, it's super, listen, things can be complex, and they also get back to very simple principles. If you want this to be world-class, you need to invite everybody in here. If you invite everybody in here, you got to want to talk to and work with everybody. That's it. That's it. That doesn't mean John Villarreal. You don't like John Villarreal, that's fine. If nobody likes John Villarreal, that's okay. I'll be just fine. Believe me, I'm just fine. I'm okay. We have some pretty awesome announcements coming up. That's okay. And it's funny because I know so many of these people. They all know. Believe me, when I said hi to Mayor Swartz, my impression, could be wrong, knew exactly who I was. Okay, like instant. Like just boom. Yeah, of course. So I'm Johnny V, buddy. JDV is, pretty unforgettable. And who cares? It doesn't matter. It's not about me. And it's not about him. It's about what's up here and how we all work together and make it happen. And listen, to his credit, he's done some amazing things in a place that hasn't gotten it done before. So you have to give the dude credit, and I do. Props. Absolutely. So that's it. I don't get into, I'm about function over form. I'm about results over style, right? And so I look at results. But the results are adequate. They're not world record breaking. They're just not. And there's problems. I'm going to get to that in a second. Okay. So I think that's a good frame of that. And I'm trying to, it took me a lot longer as I'm trying to sort of finesse it and dance around it a little bit. Definitely don't want to be misconstrued either. But I would say, and I'll put it to you like this. I mean, I can't tell you, I don't even want to call them out because I don't even want to give the attention because it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like you've got situations down here where people maybe don't want to work with you, don't return, whatever. It could be universities. It could be, people trying to help out tech, people, whatever. And it's like, dude, they'll just blow you off. And it's happened to other people that I know too. And it's like, okay, well, I guess it's not just me. And yet we're going to be world class. Oh, we're going to do this and that. Oh, we're going to, okay. It's like, dude, and I mean, you've got newsletters that are doing NFTs. Like, it's like, it's almost like I feel like I'm watching a South Park episode sometimes. I mean, it's so crazy. After the happy hour, it's like, wait a minute, are you a newsletter? Are you doing happy hours? Are you going to do like, are you doing like, what do you, and I'm someone that loves to do a lot of different stuff, but it's like, wow. Meanwhile, you've got some of these, things where it seems like the thing that people show up the most for is the parties, the happy hours, this kind of stuff. Then I read about like all these wins. So-and-so got a job. So-and-so got a job. This is a parody. It's not real. It's not factual. This is hyperbole. So-and-so. No, exactly. Right. I know. It's crazy. It's like, I don't get it. But I'm going to get to this. You're going to want to stay for this, Ricky, because I'm going to get to something very, very important. We're going to talk about the future here and where I think this is going in prediction. So one of my contacts wanted me to touch on politics. So we're going to kind of swerve a couple things in here. But the majority wanted me to talk about Miami, Texas. That's what we're doing. And it's like, I hear these wins. So this is it's a joke. It's hyperbole. It's not accurate. It's not, but it's a characterization and probably it's a mischaracterization, right? So it's hyperbole. It's a joke. It's a wins. So-and-so got a job at the local Publix. Oh, it's amazing. It's like, okay, like, congratulations. What does that have to do with like venture or tech? Like, I don't get it. Or so-and-so got a job over in Greenland or something like that. Cool. How does that, is that Miami? Like, what? So yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's like, so I think I'm not alleging anything. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a heavy inside click. Let's go with that. Inside click. I don't want to use other, I'll use that. Inside click. A cool kids club. That's what I call it. And then one of a couple of my buddies that are really doing some cool things. I love that. It's the cool kids club. So it's the South Florida cool kids club, in my opinion. And we'll use that, right? All right. We've got the South Florida cool kids club. I'm clearly not in that club, I think, right? And you have other people that are like super dorky that are trying to be in that club, potentially, maybe, hypothetically. I'm not alleging anything. Then you have Mary Suarez, that is the coolest politician down here. I'll give him that. Maybe Rubio, but I mean, Rubio and Senator Scott, they're statewide, so that doesn't really count. Yeah, it's like, it's wacky. It's very wacky. The hype is here. The reality is here. The push is over. They're going to have to figure out Act 2. But there's real stuff that's happened. It is viable now. And that's a massive accomplishment. And I do give Mayor Suarez and Venture Miami team and everyone I tried myself. I mean, anyone who's tried to do something and that's all of us. Let's give ourselves a round of applause on that, because it's great. There's real stuff here. And the person that I want to thank the most, really, is Marcelo Kleur of SoftBank. And him and his team, but particularly him. And again, I'm not trying to, but I mean, listen, I get a read on people, I get a vibe. And just everything I can see and stuff like that. Just super impressive. The vision, this is so doing the SoftBank operator. I mean, just that is real, super real. And I'll talk about that. But the other thing and I'm hitting the negatives first because I'm going to hit the positives. The other thing is like anything that's like, the other thing about Miami is like, anything that's like hype, and listen, you can say this about, other places too, but I mean, it's like, I told people, like, Miami reminds me of like LA with celebrity culture in Vegas, some kind of, in the tropics, some kind of weird cross with that. And so anything that's like super buzzy buzzwords or quick money, it seems like the Miami tech scene is all over that. Crypto, NFTs, SPAC. I mean, all these things, right? There's an article in Wall Street Journal I put up about how, like, SPACs are, like, and you can read that article and there's different things. Like, I'm like, oh man. And one of my really good contacts that's very well connected, very, very legit, very smart. It's like, John, you got a much better, eye or gut on this, instinct on this than you think in terms of just, and it's like, listen, I'm all about legit. I'm all about real. Right. Yeah. I mean, right. It's all kinds of, exactly. Right. I mean, yeah, we got all like, anything that's like, oh, we're going to be the Bitcoin conference and all this one's. And again, listen, I know a lot of people, and this is the thing. I took the Berkeley DeFi class and this is my opinion. I mean, I've been, I'm very interested in blockchain. I'm interested in DeFi, cautious on crypto, but there's some the world's having a conversation. Again, I'm not alleging anything, not giving anyone advice, definitely, financial or otherwise, everything you do is your own risk, everything like that. But what I've seen from an educational, from an academic standpoint, from a personal opinion standpoint, is that I've always had grave reservations with that entire stuff. At the same time, some of the most impressive companies and people are, so I think that in just knowing what I know now, having taken this Berkeley course, I mean, there's definitely, it all has to be worked out. But the idea that there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there, and I'm talking to a lot of different people, and I don't want to say or announce anything before I'm ready to say or announce anything, but and I may never be ready to say or announce anything, but I'm talking to a lot of people, and a lot of spaces, and that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't have, I mean, listen, people that know what's up with me. Okay, it's simple as that. And people that are really doing stuff really want to do stuff with me. That's it. So because you don't have the experience and the academic background and the track record that I have, and nobody sleeps on that. I might be here, I might different things happen. I do my own thing, but nobody. I mean, again, I don't want to sit here and toot my own horn, but this is the problem with Miami, though. So if Miami wants to play it one way, someone said this, and I'm not alleging anything. Someone said this. It's not about how can I help. It's about what do you bring. And I'm not talking about, that has nothing to do with Mayor Suarez or anything like that. It's just a general sense. That's not what I said. That's what my opinion, paraphrase of what someone else said. And I thought that was very interesting way to put it. And if any part of that characterization is potentially true, how is that any different than what Miami's been for so long, right? A bunch of rich people coming in here and doing their thing and having a good time. And not just now, there's other downsides. Rents have gone way through the roof. I mean, $500, $600, $700 up, stuff like that. So, if your salary hasn't gone up, so I talked to a recruiter, and I thought I had a good shot at this position, stuff like that. And dude, I mean, I don't want to get specific. I may at some point put a LinkedIn post. We'll see. And the pay was here. And I'm like, well, I think I'm worth like, yeah. Well, again, I'll announce when I'm ready to announce. But I'm pretty confident I was right. Okay. In my opinion, I'm really confident that I was right. And, yeah, I mean, it's like multiples. So it's like, it's not what people get invested here. There's always been a disparity between the haves and the have-nots here in a lot of cities, whatever. But also it's like, what are the opportunities here? How real are they? How much can they be accessed by people that have come in here or the local talent? And what are those things paying? I mean, how many jobs are really paying over six figures? Or well into six figures? I mean, how many jobs pay over 100? How many jobs pay over 150? How many jobs pay over 200? Okay, how many jobs are really paying 30, 50, 60? Do you think you can raise a family on 60 grand in Miami? Sending your kids to private school if you want to do that. Having a house, right? Can you, if you can be in tech, can you raise a family and have a car, 2 cars, have a house, send your kids to private school on 60 grand in Miami? I think you'd have a problem with that. I think that'd be, again, I'm not giving anyone advice. I think that'd be a big challenge. And so, okay, so if wages went up 3%, 5%, no percent here, whatever they went up, but the cost of living, in terms of at least housing, went up 30%, did the area go backwards or forwards? That's a question. And yet, in VC funding, it was, if I remember right, it was 11th. When I did this before, when I covered the VC, it's still 11th. So nothing's really changed. Whereas a lot of stuff's happening in Tampa. A lot of stuff's happening in a lot of other places. Texas is where people are deploying massive spends. Elon went out there, Gigafactory, Samsung, I think, just deployed a huge thing out near Round Rock or something like this, or outside Round Rock. Just major things. We talked to Bob Milner about what's going on at Sam Houston State University, and there's just so much happening out there. There's just a lot more just land. Then you can do stuff. So it's not. They're real questions. Now here's the other thing I'll bring up to talk a little bit about the political thing. And it's a little bit of, there's so much here, and I know it's a little bit of a ramble, but it's late, and I'm trying to be diplomatic, and I'm trying to be polite. But I will say this, I'll hammer this one more time, but in as nice a way as I can say it. So again, and it's not just, I can't tell you, I was talking to someone, it's like, dude, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, how many times I've tried to extend the olive branch, collaboration, this and that, everything. And, well, that's not quite right, because the people, almost everybody that I've talked to is either been, that's cool with me, is either high-powered and or conservative. And that's, on one hand, cool, and on the other hand, is a real disappointment, lost opportunity, both. Because, like, dude, I've tried all kinds of stuff, and it's not like I've killed myself. I mean, I've made like 3-4 events, or something like that. I mean, I haven't, in that let's call it 1 or 2 of their thing, maybe even 1, but still, maybe, I don't know. It depends on how you want to count it. So it's not like I've killed myself. I've been to every event, and I've passed out thousands of business cards. And so I don't want to, whatever. But I mean, I read things. I know where to go. I know what to do, whatever. But I've talked to lots of people. And invariably, the people that are cool, even if they don't want to work with you, whatever, have been Berkeley, Stanford, Wharton, Harvard, MIT, that kind of crew, right? And Northwestern, or like I said, maybe they vote Republican, right? So it's either one or both, usually. But when you're dealing with, and I even have, there's a good contact of mine that works at one of the top colleges here, like the top college here. I don't want to, and it's like. No, and I don't want to name names, and it's cool, but it's like even with that, it's like dude, Like nobody, they all want to talk to you. They all want to know what's going on. Nobody wants to work with you. And I just feel like I've seen it before, you know. I know when people are maybe a little scared, maybe a little intimidated, and you see because again, it goes back to the same thing. And someone just said it's like on Joe Rogan's podcast and stuff like that about cancel culture. It's one of the comedians. And he was like, well, you know, maybe this is happening. This is my paraphrase, because, you know, they want those jobs. There's very few slots, right? I mean, if there's very few slots, elite slots in entertainment. And remember, this place is like celebrities. So when you see people that are supposedly helping entrepreneurs, but they want to go do a bunch of interviews and kind of promote themselves and get them, you know, use the wrestling phrase, get themselves over, and it's all about them, me, I. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought you were like, aren't you supposed to be like helping people? Don't you work like for a nonprofit, or didn't your place like take public funds? Like, wait a minute, but you're not, maybe you're having is there an issue with like returning emails and like phone call, or maybe phone, like, how does that work? Does that work? I don't know. And again, I'm not alleging anything. It's my personal opinion. I may be wrong. So no, I think the net of it is, so I don't see that as a winning formula, right? Whereas, I mean, I'll straight up tell people, hey, this is what it is. And I've had people tell me, you know, people that are really high powered, hey, John, no, for this reason, whatever, they're straight up. Okay, I respect that. I have no problem with that. That's cool. Now I know where it is. There's no problem. And it doesn't mean, and the thing is, no now doesn't mean no later. This is what I'm saying. This place, in my opinion, does not know how the game really works and does not know how to play the game. They're playing this game. And that's not the real game in tech and VC. That's something. It's something. Right? It's doing something. I mean, again, it's like I said, like I'll analogize to the car business, what I said before. Oh, hey, if you just make phone calls, if you just do, there's like 10, 20 different ways. Let's just call it 10. There's like 10 different ways you can kind of try to promote, advertise, get a customer, sell a car, pick up the phone, work in the service drive, greeting customers when they come in the door, following up, you know, there's all kinds of different, you know, mail. I know people that do cards. There's all kinds of different ways. There's spinning the, you know, staying out in the lot. There's all kinds of different ways, strategies. They all work. Everything works, but some things work better than others, and some things work better than than me, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, the fact that something's working doesn't mean it's working as well as it can or should, right? Right. So, okay. So, no, I don't see that as room for... And then surprise. Wow. Huh. You're seeing that, like, nobody's... You know, very few people are signing up for different things. And, you know, very few... You know, like the fanfare is fading. The hype's fading very quickly. Well, yeah, because there's not... First of all, it was never sustainable at that level. And second of all, it's like... You know, it's what Suarez did was brilliant, and it worked for Miami and it worked for him, and it's working. But I think other people thought they were along for the ride, or they were going to do the same thing, or no, you know, no. Now, what's good? I did it. You know, what's good? Okay, when I went to this job fair, I will say that it was really fun. And Suarez's personal one-on-one is engaging and is cool. And look, you know, he's like an athletic dude, and I used to be a national champion and train a bunch of, you know, of top athletes, including pro athletes. And so, you know, I get along, and it's fine. They had food there. I didn't have any of the food, but it was like, it had music going. It was like a party atmosphere. It was like the coolest, you know, job fair there. Everyone was cool. They were passing out t-shirts. I mean, it was really fun. And for government to do that, and they had the schools out there, and the Miami-Dade Mayor Levine Cava was there. Different schools were there. And Miami, you know, the community college was there. And I'm going to pronounce the name wrong, and I really apologize. But a lot of my contacts from LinkedIn, and I will post it on LinkedIn and stuff. And I wanted to post some footage. I've just been super busy, so I apologize on that. Everyone was nice, and they were cool, and it was fun, and you could see the real sense of community there. And, I saw my friend from Johns Hopkins who's now here down at Miami, and I talked to Miami. There was a real sense of community there, and a real sense of fun. And I've definitely seen community, but the tech community, it's different. Video game community, Silicon Valley venture community. But it was a real, Silicon Valley is fun, but it's business. Here it was fun, and it was community, and it was cool. It was unlike anything else. And there is a lot. Miami, and I talked to Lauren Coffey about this from the Tampa Bay. Listen, Miami has a very, very high cool factor. It does. There's no way around that. And it is leaning hard into the blockchain and the crypto space and NFT space, and obviously Art Basel and I went out for Art Basel and the whole artist community down here is extremely real. So there's a lot of advantages. Certainly one of the biggest is the gateway to Latin America. That is super real. Way more so than any other tech hub that I've ever been in. I mean, it doesn't matter. Austin, Houston, San Antonio. I mean, there's a little bit, but San Antonio is kind of quietly. There's some things going on there. It's kind of like it's like San Antonio is like the little town that really grew up, big. It's a big metro now, huge, bigger than Austin, L.A. And so, but let's say L.A. and Austin, and because you have direct flights pretty much everywhere across Latin America, Caribbean here. You've got the port. You've got a lot of people that go back and forth. You've got this, snowbirds and people that are coming out. So being the gateway to Latin America and banking and everything is absolutely extremely real here. So, and there's a lot that's happening in Latin America. There's a lot that seems to be happening also in Africa. Obviously, there's things happening in Asia, Middle East, Israel, stuff like that. So there's definitely connection here to Israel, which is strong, and Israel's super strong, and there's connection to the Caribbean and Latin America. So having that intersection is a huge competitive advantage for Miami. No question about it. And I think that's a huge deal. So that is going to stay with, and to the extent that Miami becomes viable as a tech hub, and I think that we're at that level now. I wouldn't call it a leading tech hub by any stretch. No way. Not, but I think it's close or at a real tech hub now. I think it's viable as a tech hub. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have to really drill down more and stuff, but I'm just going off of just gut. I think there's a lot less there than the hype. But I think there's things happening. I think that there's now a lot of people aware of this. There's people that are coming here. There's conferences that are happening. There's funders that are coming here. There's people that are trying to. There's a sort of a critical mass that's trying to make it work on a full-time basis. And I think Mayor Suarez with the Venture Miami team, that was a very clever idea too. Now, I have a criticism of that too, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk more about the positives. So I think the fun factor, the cool factor, the gateway to Latin America, gateway to Caribbean, the connection with Israel. I think they do some stuff. They had some events, and there's this like a sister city and stuff like that. And I wanted to go to that. My wife's Israeli, so I'm very aware of stuff going on over there. So yeah, there's a lot of positives, but there's logistically some negatives. So I think that there's still there's very much this cool kids club going on. There's people that are supposed to be helping entrepreneurs that seems to be all about them, and I'm gonna whatever, and I'm speaking at this, and I'm doing this. I'm on, okay, whatever. And there's still the problem that there's just not a heavyweight. Well, there is actually. Nobody even knows that very few people know that they're here. There's no local universities that are like super strong. We're ranked. Okay, all right, sure, and I think that I'm starting to see and talk to people where there's outflows. People are leaving, and there's a big influencer that on LinkedIn, she just left the area, right? And I don't want to, she just left the area. And there's some others that I've talked to or that are thinking about, maybe I want to go to Tampa, or maybe I want to go to Orlando, maybe I want to go back to wherever, and that those conversations are happening. So the easy move, I think, is over. Now, in the bigger, but yet rents are up big time. Traffic is up big time. But are the real jobs and the wages up? And there's a lot more to say about that. But there's this. It can't be a cool kids club. It can't be an insiders club. It can't be, you have to do X, Y, and Z to be able to, work. And here's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things, not the biggest thing. Here's one of the, and this is where we'll touch a little bit on the political. DeSantis is the power in the state. It's just not even close, like at all. And I've talked to people that are, liberals and didn't vote for him. They're like, oh yeah, thank goodness for this mayor type of deal. I'm serious. And that's not one or two, like a lot. And, Suarez is politically tangled with the governor a couple times. What I read, and maybe also, there's some issues with Trump. And you have tech and venture that's leaning left, if not hard left. And I don't want to make this a political. I'm just trying to do analysis of this tech hub. And they've had some people like, oh, there's Florida and then there's Miami. Dude, it's not different. Okay? Miami's still in Florida. Nothing's changed. Now, you can say it's a different vibe down here. That's fine. It's still in Florida. So then, Mayor Suarez is going to be president, or Mayor Suarez is this. Listen, you got elected conference mayors. It's great. Congratulations on that. On the Republican side, I see zero chance. Like zero. And we'll talk about this more. Again, weeks of lifetime politics, anything can change. That dude is going to run for president in 2024, is going to win the nomination on the Republican side, like zero chance. Well, I'll do a Mayor Pete and someone will, he'll be the vice president, Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, in my opinion, has zero chance, right? That's almost I don't know. Don't get me started. I'm trying to avoid politics. I really am, but it's just, and now I'll say this. This is maybe the best, because I don't want this to seem personal or hater. I don't want to get into this. I'm a political expert, and I'm just trying to give the political component, because there is a political component to this. You cannot have a tech hub in Florida where Republicans need not apply. And the problem that I'm seeing specifically, let me focus on this, is that, and I don't know. Right? I'm not here. I didn't ask anyone. I have no idea. I'm just guessing based upon posts I'm seeing and some different things, whatever. But it seems that Suarez is surrounding himself with people that are just really pushing a left, maybe even a woke type of vibe, in my opinion. And it's all of it. It continues to, I continue to see that. Now, I do know, obviously, there's some people that are kind of in that greater Suarez orbit and he's a Republican, that are, more conservative Republican, whatever you want to call it. But the people that are directly, I want to be careful. From what I've seen, a lot of the, folks hanging around the venture Miami scene, wouldn't surprise me if they were, voted Democrat or more on the left and into those kind of causes. And great, I'm all for everything, right? I spoke at the UN thing, COP26, it was great, and I want to save the world too. I just want to do it in a way that works, right? And I'm all for freedom, liberty, equality, opportunity for everybody, and individual rights, right? And all that type of stuff. So the point is that like if I just say it again, and that's the easiest way I can say it. I don't want to get bogged down to this. You cannot have you can, okay, but I don't think it's smart. Definitely do not think it's politically smart to have a tech hub if Republicans need not apply. I don't think that's smart. I think that's a huge, especially if you have future political ambitions on the Republican side. Now, I'll say two more things on that, maybe three. People are like, oh, I've had a lot of conversations with people like, oh, we hope, I've had people tell me off the record, I'm not going to name names, but different people, whatever. It wasn't like, hey, this is off the record. I mean, maybe one conversation, but maybe not. I don't know. But it's like, let me reframe. In my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of high-powered people that maybe vote Republican that would rather see, DeSantis run than Trump. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. But if I have to guess right now, I think Trump's running. And I think I think there's no chance of anyone beating him on the Republican side. But here's where I think that people have made the miscalculation, even big-time political people. And I think it's maybe starting to possibly dawn on some people, But if not, I don't think anyone said it, but I'll say it. And I'll do another thing on this. And this relates directly to this, but I got to lay this out for a second. This is all complicated. This is what I'm saying. Like, when you do a live thing, you can't make it all super edited and pithy and everything because this is complex. Okay, and here's the subtext. I think Mayor Suarez has done amazing things in certain ways, and I give him great credit for the Miami Tech Hub. But I think, in my opinion, his political judgment, terrible. And I also have questions. This is not just like, hey, they didn't get back to me. He hasn't been on my show. It's not about that. You want to come on the show? Come on the show. You don't want to come on the show? Don't come on the show. It's fine, right? You'll survive without coming on my show. I'll survive without you being on the show. It's all good. But no one's going to interview you the way I would interview you. I'll tell you that right now. And maybe some people are scared of that. I don't think, maybe some people, a lot of people love that. But it's not about me. I just frame that. It's also not about Trump. And this is the thing. The key thing that a lot of people, I don't think anyone said, but I think instinctually the smart politicians are understanding. John, what do you mean? Let's say Trump says, hey, you know what? I'm retired. Forget it. I don't want to deal with it. Oh, wow. That opens the door for Nikki Haley and Chris Christie. No, it doesn't. Not at all. So whether Trump runs, or let me give you the headline. And you can look at Governor Youngkin now as a proof point on this. There is no space for, in my opinion, Nikki Haley, Governor Nome, Senator Cruz. There's no space on the Republican. Thank you for being a Republican. Obviously, we have a big tent. It's great. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, when I say no space, that doesn't mean, first of all, I don't decide anything, right? I'm nobody, right? I want to clarify that. I don't think there's space. Let me rephrase that. I don't think there is a lane. That's a better way to put that. I don't think there's a political lane to win with that kind of candidate, with that kind of message, with that kind of record, right? So what I mean by it doesn't matter if Trump runs, and I don't mean like obviously, first of all, I don't want to get into politics or anything like that, but just from an analytical education standpoint, there has been no politician ever like President Trump. Like him, hate him, don't like him, voted for him, didn't vote for him, whatever. I think a lot of people should be able to agree on that. By way of, at least by the pure facts of, no one has been a political novice and won the presidency. So President Trump of course, has its own, thing. But here's what I mean by it doesn't matter. I only mean that in one way. Obviously, it matters who runs. Obviously, candidates matter. Obviously, Trump has its own political force, right? What I mean by it doesn't matter is, in my opinion, is that if Trump does not run, that doesn't mean whatever you want to call it, MAGA, this or that. It's not even. And what I mean by no space, no lane, I'm going to change that to no lane. There is no longer a lane on the Republican side, in my opinion, at the presidential level, and maybe even at the state level, where, hey, I'm going to say one thing, I'm going to tack to the right in the primary, then I'm going to go to the center in the general. And I'm not necessarily talking specifically, but it's like people want a politician on the Republican side, on the right, on the center right, center whatever, that's going to tell them what they're going to do and then going to deliver on what they said they were going to do. Keep their promises, campaign promises, clarity. No double speak, no corporate I'm going to tell you this and I'm going to go hang out with the Chamber of Commerce or whatever like that. Nothing against Chamber. It's like, or I'm just using that as a potential example. It's like, that doesn't work. Governor Youngkin ran on what he ran on, and now he's delivering. You may like it, you may hate it, whatever like that, but that is so who's got the energy right now for 2024? Trump, DeSantis, Youngkin just put himself in that conversation, and there's a whole slew. There's about 5 or 10 other names I can name that are right behind him, that are right, not even behind him, right there as well. So that's what I mean by there is no lane. It doesn't matter it matters, obviously, but in one aspect, it doesn't matter if Trump runs or not, in my opinion, because that's where the Republican Party is now. Now, why does this relate? I don't think you can do a tech hub where Republicans need not apply. I don't think you can have this team that's always talking about all these maybe left-wing causes, maybe possibly woke causes. There's stuff that's coming. DeSantis has been talking about stuff. There's other stuff that should be coming where there's going to be sort of a we're seeing it now. If you know what to look for, you're seeing it now. Where, Republicans people are like, I'll put something else on the table before I go drive into that. Independents and Hispanics and the other groups. There's just two that I just heard on the radio, and then I referenced some other stuff. Have moved from supporting Biden to the GOP. And GOP registration has exceeded Democrats, like first time ever in Florida. But nationally, independents and Hispanic voters have moved towards the Republicans. I want to say by like 30 or 40% in a year. I don't think that's ever happened. I can't recall that ever happening. That is tectonic. That is seismic. That is mega. That is I don't know the superlatives. So, once again, how do you have a Miami? It's like, how do you have a tech hub in Florida if Republicans need not apply? And how do you have this team that's like, oh, if Miami's different than, how do you have this team that is going to be all like, hey, we're all for doing this and doing that and promoting all these left-wing causes. Where's all the right-wing causes? Have you seen anything? Can anyone tell me in the chat, or can anyone tell me on LinkedIn? Can anyone tell me on Facebook? Tell me of the right-wing causes that have been funded down here, that have been on a Cafecito talk. I'm not talking about conservative media that's big and political. I'm not talking about Ben Shapiro and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not talking about I'm not making any characterization one way and say anything about Ben. I'm talking that doesn't count because that's different. That's media. That's conservative media. I'm talking tech that's here. And from what I know, I mean, I'm talking tech that's right here, right now in a cause like, hey, we want to do, and I don't even know what that would be. I mean, it's just like, like that's right here in part of the Miami tech scene. That is a straight up like, hey, that's a cause that you would associate with conservatives or Republicans or whatever it would be. I can't name one, not one, but I can't tell you how many like people, founders, causes, companies I can name on the left. Everything from, and again, I'm not trying to call anything out, whatever like that. I mean, environmental stuff. I mean, just go on down the list, right? And I'm all for everybody. I'm for everybody. I love everybody, right? Peace, love, harmony, opportunity, equality, liberty, everything for everybody. But again, I'm highlighting a point. You are a Republican mayor. People are talking about, oh, you're going to run for president. You're going to do this. How on earth you're going to do that? If someone like me, who has major experience and context politically, venture, startups, Silicon Valley, all this type of stuff, is having just feels like, or just like, I don't know. Like, how is this like that? Maybe there's a cool kids club and it's hard to kind of get things done here. I'm sure that feeling, because I've talked to other people, may be replicated. And so in this situation where you have cost of living going through the roof, where you have people that now all of a sudden it's harder to get your kids into private schools because the private schools those spots are being filled up by the big millionaires and billionaires and stuff like that. Traffic's getting worse. All kinds of other things are happening, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm hanging out in the metaverse with these rich people. I'm hanging out with these big VCs. I'm hanging out with the crypto, peeps. And it's just not, when a lot of Republicans are feeling like they got punked out by tech, where the governor is talking like, hey, we need to make sure that we have a fair playing field here with tech and stuff like that. And you're just like, oh, yay, me and my tech buddies. And people around are pushing all these left-wing causes, and academia. You've got a lot of academia involved. Academia, sometimes people would say, leans pretty hard left. That equation doesn't compute. And again, if you're going to roll that way, how does Miami have a competitive advantage over New York or Silicon Valley, or Berkeley, San Francisco? It doesn't. Or even Austin. So you're trying to be like, Air America or PBS when there's already like 30 other channels like that. That doesn't make sense. I'm not saying you have to roll with it the other way. But I'm saying, and honestly, I'm sick of I wish all the politics were out of tech and venture and everything like that. Like, this is crazy. It used to be way more libertarian. Like I said, when I was in, almost nobody cared. Yeah, you knew that, like, okay, maybe it's a little more liberal. Okay, maybe. But I mean, there were people, when I was there were people that were very openly Republican, and it was fine. It was cool. And I don't want to get into this and name names, but thank goodness for some leadership out there with some people that are big names and just maybe too big. And I don't want to get into specific things. And it's like, again, people are just over it. People are over all the hyper partisanship and all the people just want to get things done. People just want to be cool. And so, but if you are a politician, it's your job to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table here, because you just raise the cost of living here tremendously. If you're going to, and I say you, because if you're going to take credit for the tech hub here, or the venture, whatever gains, the tweet heard around the world, then you're also responsible politically for the negative implications of that, right? And so again, who on your team, who on the Venture Miami team could you say is, hey, this person is a Republican? Which founders are being promoted that might be conservative? Which conservative? And again, it shouldn't be like that. But if everything is rolling, or a lot is rolling the other way, then what's up with that? So it's how inclusive is that environment for potential founders, potential customers, potential employees, potential investors in Florida? That's a big problem, right? And so from what and potentially, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion. Whereas if I look at other tech areas around the state, from what I understand, it's not like that. It's totally different. Nobody cares, right? Or it's a different vibe. So that's a big problem. That's a big problem. And now you say, well, look, it's just going to be Austin. It's nobody there. Look at Austin's doing great. Okay. But and Austin is doing great. But again, you look at those stats. You can't. I would never try to field a professional sports team and say I'm only gonna look at half the D1 colleges out there. That's crazy, right? It doesn't make sense. It never makes sense. So I think that my criticism is, I think he's made politically terrible mistakes. And I don't know if that's from being novice. I don't know if that's, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to, but I think he's a smart dude. And I think that, I don't know. I can't get in someone else's head. I don't want to speculate. But it's like, you have to logically go through like, well, why? Like why are you choosing? I don't know. Anyway, it just, there's things that don't mean, listen, there's a lot of politicians. Forget it. We're not talking about sports anymore. I'm just taking it away from that for a second. This is what I want to say again, but the lane. This is why politics relates. There's a lot of politicians that want to, hey, I'm going to campaign. I'm going to do what I need to do to get voted. But they want to hang out with the rich people. They want to hang out with the big donors. They want to hang out with the cool kids. And I think that's people now more than ever want someone who's going to deliver for them. And I think that Suarez has some instincts on that, right? So, but I just, there is, and I'm going to get off Suarez here right now. So I'm going to take more generally. Doing the right thing is rarely easy, right? It's really hard. It usually takes time. There's no quick fix, fast track, meme stock, whatever like that, to doing the right thing, if ever. And a lot of times it takes political courage. And the people that I named that I don't think have a lane to win at the presidential level here, regardless of whether Trump runs or not, maybe they didn't show political courage, some might say, at certain points. And that's a big problem, because it's not, I think that my sense of where the electorate is now, and I think I'm pretty sharp on this. Like I said, I'm a political expert and I've done really well, in my opinion, in politics. On the one hand, people are tired of all of it. People just want to be cool. They want to love each other. They want to have fun. They want to talk to their neighbors. They want to, have kids playing each other, whatever. And again, I'm not saying, everyone's got to be, I'm not talking about anything, maybe not right now, whatever. Everyone's going to be safe. I'm not making any medical thing. I'm not a medical doctor, et cetera, et cetera. Everything you do is your own risk and all that type of stuff. But people want to be cool with each other. People want to, people are sick of all, when everything, when your entire life is affected by who you voted for or would vote for, whatever, that's just a terrible place to be. Nobody wants, that's not a cool place to be, in my opinion. And that's coming from someone that's been involved in policy and read the news for their entire life, right? That's just not a cool place to be. On the other hand, I think people are look, this is not I think there's so many people are like, whatever's like, this current thing's not working, right? Like we're not like this whole environment, right? And we need people that are, we need leadership that's going to step up and, handle some issues and take care of some stuff. And, I don't want to get into different things. I saw there's real issues from low to big that are happening right now. Real issues from supply chain, school. I mean, all kinds of issues, right? That are very, very real, and that takes leadership, and that takes stepping up. It's not just, oh, hey, I'm hanging out at the Bitcoin conference. Hey, I'm going to tweet. There's another billionaire. Hey, here's a selfie. Hey, I'm on a yacht. Hey, look at all my rich friends. Hey, these people can be, doing the Mayor Pete. I've got all these cool rich donors and stuff like, so that I think is I think oftentimes your strength is your weakness, and I think that there's Mayor Suarez and then there's the team. Who's doing the work, right? And so it's kind of like it's almost like in jobs and stuff like that. Like, you might be amazing at a job, but you need to deal with the HR recruiter. You have to deal with the outside recruiter first. Then you have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't get through the outside recruiter, then you can't get a job. So it's can't get that job, whatever, potentially, hypothetically. So I think that in order to be truly great, first of all, it's going to take time. This whole idea that a tweet, a year, capital, it's all going to happen in 3 months, 6 months is a joke, number one. Number two, I think that Miami has a lot of work, at least the people that I see around this that's trying to lead the movement. There's a lot of work to be done on truly making this inclusive for Florida. So we're in Florida. This is not like Austin. This isn't San Francisco. This is Florida, right? From the Keys all the way down to Jacksonville. This is Florida, and over to Pensacola. So this is Florida. There's a lot more work to be done to truly make it inclusive. And I think that we need to see salaries that are going to be commensurate with, the living, conditions, the cost of living here. And I also think that, there's got to be less hype and less drive for celebrity by the people that are leading it, particularly if potentially some of these might be academics. It's like, it's just such an odd look. Like, I just can't even I'm all for everything. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm down. But I'm trying to I can't imagine the dean of Stanford Business School, hey, let's take a selfie here at happy hour. So you know what I mean? Or the dean of my law school, or just not to say that they wouldn't be nice to the students, but you know what I mean? It's just hey, I've got my avatar's an NFT now. it's like, what? Come on, dude. It's like, and I'm all for, dude. Oh my gosh. I'm a bestseller. What, for a textbook? What? Oh man, I don't know. It's crazy. It's late. Listen, this has gone off the rails. And again, I'm not talking about anyone specific. I'm not making any factual allegations. I'm just saying it's a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, right? I mean, forget about it. It's all good. Anyone who's I respect and love anyone who's trying to do something down here. There's a lot of, there's a lot of people trying to do some stuff, and there's people that are doing some stuff. But again, if you want people to include you, you need to include them. It's so simple. It's the golden rule. You want people to be cool to you, then you got to be cool to them. And it's like, oh, this guy is just JDB. He's nobody. He's got nothing going on. It's okay. Again, I'll tell you, I'm nobody. I just know a lot of people. I know a lot of things. But if you're going to flex up and potentially, what are you doing? Who's signing up for your stuff? How many people are coming to your events and stuff like that? Like, I mean, for you, right? Like, so, like if you, anyway, it doesn't matter. And again, I'm not here saying, I'm going to beat the world. I've got the best facility. I've capital of capital. I'm leading the, I don't say that. Say that. I'm just doing my, yeah, so what's the bottom line? Miami's improved. It's on the map. It's viable as a tech hub. It's in certain sectors. The other thing is there's other competition too. Puerto Rico. There's a lot of action going on in Puerto Rico. A lot of influencers going there. A lot of people in the blockchain crypto space are going there. There's apparently, I would refer to you. I don't want to get into stuff, but it may have tremendous advantages that can't be matched, right? In certain ways. And again, do your own research, and everything you do is at your own risk and everything like that. Tampa's super hot. In Florida, a lot of people. I can't tell you how many people I talked to about that area. Tampa, Sarasota, Orlando, that I-4 corridor is super hot. Jacksonville's doing stuff. Obviously, Gainesville. I mean, different things happening. But Miami has a super cool factor. There is a sense of fun. There's a sense of community here. There's the gateway to Latin. There's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of good things here. And Mayor Suarez is doing a lot. Marcelo Clore and his team, I think, have done the most and the most real stuff and continue to do it. And I also respect, and I want to be clear about this, the people that have been here and that are doing it and are trying. Something always beats nothing. Something beats nothing. So that's cool, and that's fine. And it's all good. But I would caution people into believing the hype and thinking you're here. And it's not about, it's just what the market's here. How about that? It's not about people. I don't want to put it like that. But if you want to be included, then you have to include people. It's super simple. It's super simple. If you want people to be cool to you, you got to be cool to them. And if you're like an educator, a public servant, taking public funds, a nonprofit, whatever, I don't understand not getting back to people, not responding, not telling people what's up, not being cool, whatever. I mean, I don't understand how, like, can you even do that? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not, everyone does whatever they're doing and whatever. I'm not, again, it's all my opinion and speculation only. I'm not alleging anything. But, so I think there's a lot of work to do. I think there's a lot of things that are cool, but I think there's a lot of work to do. But I think within certain sectors, there's some interesting strength here. There is real stuff that's happening here. There is viable. That Miami's on the map. People are talking about it. But now, see, here's the thing. All the good that's happened, there's a lot of good that's happened. And they've talked about that. But there's also a lot that people don't know and they have to dig down. But it's also like, it's going to get so much harder from here. And that's the challenge. Can it get better? Can you move the needle? Can you keep improving? And that's the challenge. And that's what we have to, that's what we don't know. So I think that to be continued, but it's very interesting. And at the end of the day, it's, again, the two simple principles. If you want people to be cool to you, you got to be cool to them. If you want to be included, you have to be inclusive. Number one. Number two, talent, deals, everything best comes from everywhere, and you have to be open to that. The other thing is that, adding value equals revenues, right? In my opinion. And so if you have to add value, the ecosystem has to work for people or they're going to roll somewhere else. It has to, whatever you're doing, whether you have a company, an incubator, a policy, an area, whatever like that, it has to work for people. The other thing I would say is, I think from my own read of it, the tri-counties, there's stuff happening in Palm Beach, particularly like with hedge fund stuff and Palm Beach, Billionaire Island and everything. And there's some, Goldman Sachs. There's a lot of stuff that's happening there. I haven't spent as much time there, since I've been back, really at all. So I can't really speak super authoritatively on that. I might go over there at some point. Definitely, there's lots happening in Miami. I was just there, and there's skyscrapers building. And then someone else said this too. Miami, South Florida's always been a real estate play. Miami Beach. I think Miami Beach is kind of like the cool hot spot. Miami Beach and Brickell are the two really cool hot spots. I mean, Brickell kind of like, with the downtown stuff and the office buildings, but I think Miami Beach is a lot of people, a lot of like founders, venture, hedge fund people that are posting up in Miami Beach. And then Coral Gables too. That's more of a, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, South Miami is more of the traditional, more of the, University of Miami and local. Like I know the people that I know that are there that are stronger network. I don't know, like that are doing some big things. Have been here for a while, right? And so now maybe I don't know everyone, but so I don't, of course. And I like Coral Gables. I think it's cool. So anyway, but I think that. The easy days are the win has been at Miami's back. Now I'm not sure that it is. Although I think that, there's still, I mean, New York and Chicago, New York and Illinois and California are still making it easier for people to, in my opinion, I wouldn't surprise me to see more people wanting to be down here. But I think that in order to make continued gains, particularly against some of these other ecosystems that are more developed and are doing, I think it's going to be, and now we have absolutely global markets everywhere. I think it's going to have to evolve and really reflect and take a hard look in the mirror about how, if Miami wants to stand on the world stage, how can it be world class? How can it be inclusive of the world? How can it also take care of the constituents here? For Mayor Suarez, yes, he has a national stage now with the Conference of Mayors. He's gotten a lot of press. He's done a lot of great things. But wait a minute, if you want to run on the Republican side or getting picked for an administration, then, I think politically betting on a Nikki Haley winning, Governor Haley winning. I don't think that's that type of politician. I don't think that's a. I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't count on that. I think you're much more likely to see someone like DeSantis, Trump, Youngkin, go on down the line on that. So in that kind of environment, does that, so I think that. I don't know where is Mayor Suarez going politically? I don't see it. I don't see it immediately. If you want to make a move, maybe run for, congressional office or something like that. I don't know, but to me it makes more sense. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not here to, advise anyone. I'm trying to stay out of politics, right now. It's like it's craziness. So that's it. That's the wrap up. I think that's where we're at. Great job, Miami. I think it's been great, but there's a lot more work to do. They're not beating the world. I think the hype is here. The reality is here, but there is reality. It is viable. I do tip my cap to people that are out there working it. There is some things that are really cool and special and unique about Miami, but the more it tries to be a cool kids club if to the extent that happens, a cool kids club and not as inclusive as they could be, particularly pushing left and woke stuff. Republicans need out of play. Again, nobody cares. Do everything. Everything should be, everyone, let me put it this way. All viewpoints should be welcome. There shouldn't be a political test to get hired. There shouldn't be a political test if you're not inclusive, you're not going to be world class. That's really simple, right? That's maybe the best way to say it. If you're not going to be inclusive, you're not going to be world class. So anything that says, hey, that's the easiest way to put it. Any way you want to frame that, any permutation of that. If you're not inclusive, you're not going to be world class. And in a state that's going more and more red, and when you're a politician with an R by your name, are you what? Like, where's how many conservatives are welcome in this tech hub down in Miami? So, and again, I don't want to. That's just one. I don't want to make it into this left-right thing. So I think that's such a red herring anyway. But it goes back to this, which is if that is, oh, well, hey, I'm non-political. That's just the companies. If there's a failure to confront, at least rhetorically, right? Like Trump does, like Youngkin does, like definitely our Governor DeSantis does, and have these issues talked about, then people will say, well, wait a minute, that's a lack of leadership, potentially. Or if the people you're surrounding yourself with are maybe not promoting conservatives or not, or whatever, or just whatever, you know what I mean? Like if all the causes and all the posts and the tweets are this left stuff, then, you know, how do you feel about that if, you know, you're someone on maybe that's conservative that can't get a meeting, can't, you know, isn't getting promoted. It's like, and whereas people that maybe didn't have experience all of a sudden are doing these amazing things from nowhere. And they're like, well, wait a minute. Like, I've done 10 years of whatever, and I can't even like get an email back or call back. Or it's like, so it raises, I don't think that's smart politically. I don't think that's smart politically. So then, like, why did you know what? So anyway, yeah, I don't want to get super specific, and I don't want to, you know, personal, but it's just, and the last thing I'll say with it is, you know, if you're part of this movement and you're an academic or you're a public servant or you're taking public funds, is it about, you know, you got to make sure that it's about the people that you're supposed to be, you know, doing, you know, service, whether that's your students or whether that's your you know, your area. Now I'll also say that I think there's action in Palm Beach, and I think there's definitely action in Miami. The vast majority of the action is in Miami in terms of the tech stuff. There is actual finance and also stuff going on in Palm Beach. Less in Broward. There's just like Broward kind of like, there's some stuff, there's some biotech stuff, there's some big companies, but it's more like I haven't seen as much tech here, venture here. There's some things, but definitely way less. You know, and I think that's why I said, like, you can talk about the three counties, you can try to put the region together, but it's not quite that way. They're all separate. Each of those counties are very separate, and it's not like it's all about these invisible lines and stuff, because nobody cares about that. But does seem to be like certain kind of finance type of thing going on, hedge fund type of thing going on there in Palm Beach, and then there's like this tech thing and other things going on, and of course there's companies that are everywhere, but you see certain little clusters. You see some stuff happening like in Brickell, in South Beach, in you know, West Palm Beach, well, really West Palm Beach, right? I mean, and you see, and with there's some offices, there's some, I'm sure there's a couple office stuff in Palm Beach too, but and you know, Doral, you know, you see some different, you know, Boca. Those are really the kind of the hot spots. Like you see, you know, Boca, you see Boca a lot. You see, which is southern, you know, Palm Beach County. You see, you know, Doral. You see, you know, Coral Gables, Brickell. Definitely Brickell, and then you've got some of the, you know, Wynwood, some of those things coming up too. So, but it's cool. Listen, you know, glad I've been able to be here and see it. Props to everyone. I will say again, I've never seen a job fair like that. That was really cool, and it's fun. It's fun down here. There's something there. There's been a lot of progress, but there's a lot farther to go, right? And I think this, in some ways, I don't know how to best say this, but this, in order to be great, this area has to be inclusive. It has to drop the politics. It can't try to be a Me Too politically of like, you know, Silicon Valley, San Francisco, Berkeley, New York City, whatever. That's not why people are coming to Florida. And you can look at the polls and stuff like that. And I think that to some extent, you have to get people, the academics, the incubators, the politicians, the people running tech clubs, at best they can facilitate, but they shouldn't be gatekeepers, and they shouldn't be people deciding anything. And particularly if you've had no real experience and success and wins and done venture, then how are you judging? And just, I mean, anyone can do whatever. People want to sign up for different things, but it's like, where's the credibility on that? And again, if you're not going to be truly inclusive, including politically and viewpoint, and someone just said that too. I think Governor Youngkin just said that, and I'm like, that's exactly what I've been saying. I'm telling you, listen, a lot of people, in my opinion, wouldn't surprise me. A lot of people know who I am, and a lot of people, if people knew who I've corresponded with and talked to, I think people would be shocked. And I'm not doing anything politically right now. I'm out of the game. But I'm just saying, that's politically. That's academics, VCs, everything like that. So, I mean, believe me. I mean, people, and different people. And it doesn't take I don't think this is hard to see. I think this is, nobody looks at my stuff. I don't think any of this is hard to see. I think a lot of this is super obvious. So, yeah. Great job, Miami. Congratulations, because it's way better than when I was here before. Things are happening. Things will continue to happen. There's opportunities here. But I think there's also there's a lot of people that I've talked to like, this is like, I don't know. This is like, it seems to be a cool kid club. It's kind of hard to deal with. Do I want to stay here or do I want to go somewhere else? Do I want to do this or do somewhere else? Do I want to, okay, maybe I'll do, I don't know. You know what I mean? And I don't want to, I will, like I said, major influencer on one of the platforms, major LinkedIn influencer, I'll say that just Pop Smoke got out of here. So, and I've talked to, I've seen other people that too. So, it can go both ways. You can't, if the expectation is that we're going to beat the world, everyone's got to come here and do things, and the Cool Kids Club is going to run the show and everyone's got to do things the way we want you to do them. Nope, that's not. I don't think that's a great strategy. But there are a lot of advantages for Miami, and Miami's done some good stuff. So look, that's it. And that's kind of where I'm at on that. Good job, Miami. It doesn't match the hype. The harder part is going to be in front of you. There are some great strategic advantages, but now you also have a lot of competition too. Puerto Rico is competition. There's all kinds of global competition. So, I could just name the names. If you're talking about a global hotspot, in my opinion, Miami has nothing on Dubai. Dubai, like all kinds of stuff's happening there. Israel, all kinds of stuff is happening there. Just straight up. Silicon Valley. Nobody ever, beats Silicon Valley. So there's all kinds of different opportunity places. Miami has a seat at the table, but they have to. There's a number of easy things they can look at and fix. You cannot have people that don't call people back, don't email people back, this Cool Kid Club can be, you can't have 20, 30 people, the cool kids, running the show here, because if then there isn't really a show. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you the 30 people that run Silicon Valley or that go to all the events. Like, it's just like, that's like, there's thousands, or, it's not even, it's beyond that. Like, it's just not, the idea that someone's going to shut you out of it just doesn't, that doesn't even compute. You would have to, be talking about insanely huge names, even and I've never even heard of stuff like that. I'm sure there's different stories out there, but its Valley just doesn't run like that, or not when I was there. So that's what I'm saying. This place needs to get over itself to some extent, but it also needs to be its best self, and it needs to be inclusive. In some ways, keep doing what you're doing, and in some ways involve, and that's all of us, right? I've done it. I've been in, there's some things that make me amazing and incredible, and I've done great things, and there's some ways where I'm saying, geez, I got to fix this, and this, and that worked then, and now I've got to do this, and okay, some things I'm doing great, and some ways I've got to evolve the game, and that's what it is. So I've tried to be fair here. I've gone on for a while. This is a 2-hour, whatever, but I wanted to be fair, precise, diplomatic, but real, and be able to try to characterize things as accurately as I could. So I hope that was informative. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you have any comments or questions, I'll try to follow up with them, and hopefully we'll get some other people on here and then give their perspectives and whatnot. I put the poll out, so I wasn't sure what people were going to do, and it was later, so I wasn't sure which guests to line up. But anyway, that's it. So I appreciate it. If you have a great weekend, and hey, listen, like I said, all my personal opinion only. Could be totally wrong, not alleged anything, and that's it. So have a great weekend, and I'll probably be doing some more stuff over the weekend, but I'm not sure exactly what. So I have a lot of things going on, and I probably will have some interesting things to announce soon. So if you're on my social media, stay tuned for that, or LinkedIn and whatnot. Have a great weekend. See everybody. Talk to you next time.